when I decided to fly my Tundra through FPV goggles, I knew I needed a very good camera and video transmitter. It only took a couple of minutes on a Ready-Made RC website to find a camera and transmitter that I wanted. To make flying the Tundra a little more exciting, I mounted the FPV gear on a pan-tilt mechanism from simpletracker.net, and you can find a review of that equipment on my site. The camera uses a standard composite video output of 1028 by 508 pixels with 700 TV lines. It has a 3.6mm lens and uses an electronic shutter. This camera comes out of the box all set up, and I haven't had to change anything. But if you need to tweak the camera, they have a set of buttons on the back that you can use to program it rather than having to hook it up to a computer or something. The Cricket Crow video transmitter has 40 channels including race band. Plus it has 3 selectable power outputs of 25, 200, and 600 milliwatts. You get a stick antenna with this transmitter, but I opted for something that works better. The only thing I don't like about the Cricket Pro video transmitter is that every time you plug the battery in the plane, you have to restart the video transmitter. I know this isn't a big deal, but I had to come up with some kind of downside for this outfit. It did make my one complaint a little more legitimate if it was hard to turn this unit on. The reality is that all I have to do is push the power button for a few seconds and it comes on. I know, woe is me and all that kind of stuff. Of course, none of this means anything until we get this thing up in the air and see what kind of video we get. We can see here already what happens when you expose this camera to the sunlight. Point all my other cameras at the sun like this and all you get is a great big glow. The Ready-Made RC camera handles this better than any camera I've seen. And that means I can go ahead and fly rather than worry about where the sun is. I shot this video in an early morning hours of a partly cloudy day. For most of the time I was recording, we also had a high, thin layer of clouds that gave us kind of an odd look. But the Ready-Made RC camera didn't seem to care much. Between the electronic shutter speed and the varying speed of the motor, we get some different looks at this prop. It's not really stopping or going backwards, but you do have to get used to seeing that. Landing into the sun like this could be a real problem with all the other cameras I have. But this one from Ready-Made RC just kind of disregards the sun, really. There's no big glare and it doesn't compromise the quality of the video anywhere else on the screen. Even though goggles degrade the image a bunch, I can still see well enough to get closer to the trees because I can see the branches hanging out that I might otherwise run into. Of course, when you put the Ready-Made RC camera on a pan tilt mount, you get to have some different looks at things. Some of these can get a little unnerving. I still have to get more used to flying in one direction and looking in another. The Ready-Made RC camera and video transmitter let me see well enough that I can look around a little bit and not be all that worried. Because when I need to, I can actually see where I'm going. And I just can't say that all the time about the other cameras that I have.